What's going on, everyone? It's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today we got some polynomial work where we have to find the product. Now, product is just a fancy word for saying, let's multiply some things together. So we're doing some multiplication. Okay, so we got two sets of parentheses here. We got a binomial here, right? 8n minus 4, and that is being multiplied by n squared plus 9. Now, there's tons of ways to multiply polynomials together. You got the acronym FOIL. You got some charts going on that I've been seeing some people do. I don't think any of that is necessary. All we got to do is just systemize it and just say, you got to be fair. This is all about being fair. So fairness for the win. Now, if we keep fairness in mind and we do all of our heavy work based off of the first polynomial, the rest is just going to come. So here we go. Now, let's focus in on our first set of first set of parentheses. And just like we read from left to right, let's start from the left and then work our way with the next terms. So we have an 8n here. We have to find the product. It's being multiplied, so we know that we're going to be multiplied, the 8n with something. But we're not going to multiply anything in the same parenthesis because it says right here that they're being subtracted, right? So we must go across the pond, across the parenthesis to the next parenthesis. And I see that there's two terms here. So 8n is going to multiply with the n squared. But here's where the fairness comes into play. That when the 8n is being multiplied by n squared, the 9's like, I want to be multiplied too. So the 8n must also be multiplied with that positive 9. All right? And just keep in mind that if you had like 3 values, then the 8n would have to multiply by those 3, or 4 values, etc., etc. You basically have to exhaust all your options. So let's go for it. We're going to take our 8n and multiply it by n squared. Now I just have an 8. There's no there's no number here. There's secretly a 1. So 8 times 1 is just an 8. Now worry about your variables. So I'm multiplying an n with an n squared. What's that property that we need to abide by when we are multiplying variables? The property is right here. And I just labeled the standard as an x, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to see x's. But in this case, you can see an n. But if you have exponents, right? If you have a variable, you're always going to have an exponent of some kind. And they could be different, right? A and B. They could be the same, right? They could be ones and twos and both twos or whatever it is. But the property is that if you're multiplying your variables with exponents, all you do is you just take those exponents and you add them. So we're going to add those exponents up. You got to catch them all, right? So in this case, I have n. There's no exponent here, but that's a secret 1. So I have 1 here. N squared, that's a 2. So 1 plus 2, you picked up a total of 3 n's. So this would turn into 8n cubed. And now we move on. You got to be fair, though. 8n is now going to be times by plus 9, or positive 9. So numbers always first, and then comes the variables. 8 times 9, they're both positive, is 72? So we're going to say plus 72. And now let's just do the variables. I have an n here and no n values here, so I'm just going to say n. And notice how I drew it in different colors, because if we're going to be simplifying by adding or subtracting, we can only add together n cube values, with other n cubes, or we can add or subtract n values with just n's. So we cannot add these two together because they don't want to be together. They want to be separate. So now, once we exhausted all of our options from the first one, we move on to the next one. And since this is the last term in the first parenthesis, once you be fair, that's basically the end of your multiplication. So let's go for it. Now, please, bear in mind that we're always looking for the signs as well, because that's going to make or break the question. In this case, we have a minus sign here, which means that the 4 is going to be a negative value. So we're going to take that -4 and times it by n squared. As that's happening, the 9 is like, what about me? What about me? So the -4 is also going to be multiplied by the 9. And let's go for it. So -4 times n squared. It's just a -4. This is a 1 value, so this would just be -4. And this doesn't have any variables, right? The 4 has no variables. This is just an n squared, so I'm just going to pick that up right there, n squared. And now we're just going to do the last one. -4 times a positive 9. That's a what? -36. So we're going to say -36. And we can only simplify things that are in the same color, but since these all have different, exponents, and this one has no variable, we cannot simplify. Now, if you want to properly write this out, usually in proper, notation for polynomials, the highest exponent goes first, and then the second highest, and the third highest, etc., etc. So if we just wanted to rewrite this, it would be 8n cubed, because that's the highest one. Then I have an n squared. So technically that one, I'm just going to switch the color, that one should come second. So -4n squared, so -4n squared. Then comes the plus 72n, and then the -36. And there you go. Box this answer off, and we got ourselves a video. Whee! Okay, what do you think? I hope this helped. I hope you guys are doing great out there. Keep studying hard. I'm always rooting for you guys. Good luck on your tests and quizzes. If you guys stick with us, you guys are going to do great on your tests and quizzes. So let's get it. I believe in you guys. Let's go. And yeah, that's all I got. I hope to be talking to you soon, and I hope you have a great day, okay? All right, bye-bye.